What if the people we love never truly leave us? What if love found a way to speak across the worlds? Award-winning psychic medium, life coach, best-selling author, Rick Hayes has spent nearly 2 decades helping people discover that life continues beyond this world. How do our loved ones reach across the veil to remind us they are still with us? What if Spirit's guidance could illuminate your path, help you find your purpose, and transform your life? Featured on Sci-Fi, Travel Channel, CBS, Fox Television, and Sirius Satellite Radio, Rick has inspired thousands through his evidential mediumship and transformational coaching. Join Raven and Lisa Lovelight for an evening of hope, healing, and spiritual discovery. Discover more about Rick Hayes, visit lifesgift.com and join us for an unforgettable evening where Spirit reminds us that love never dies. Greetings. Welcome to another edition of Soul Fire Ascension. And we have the fabulous Rick Hayes. We're so excited. And I just want to remind everybody before we start that right there over Lisa, if you take a picture of that, it'll take you right to Rick's website. So, yep, right there. Lisa, you're so good. So, greetings, Rick. Thank you so much for being here.
It's great to be here tonight.
It is
exciting. Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm very excited about this time that we get to spend together this evening.
Mm-hmm. Well, what a way to end the month and start a new month, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Getting together like we're doing tonight.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And just after to Alaska, you went on?
Yeah, I was, before the show aired, I was sharing that it was an incredible experience, and had the opportunity to visit a location in the world that expresses the beauty of the world. And if you never, as I was sharing earlier, that if you feel like the world's ugly and you feel like the world's in chaos, take a trip to Alaska and see the beauty of what this world really is. And then you just can't help coming back, with a different feeling about life, and just seeing the nature. We had whales literally jumping up along our ship, and that was incredible. And just we had perfect. I mean, we took rain suits with us because we heard it rained a lot. We had about 5 minutes of rain the whole week, and the temperature was like in the upper 50s, lower 60s. So it was just incredible. So, but I came back, and I was excited about getting back and following my path, and going, getting up every morning and excited about what the day's going to bring. So, but I'm going back to Alaska. I've already started planning for next year. I'm going back. I'm going to take the same cruise and everything because I just had such a great time.
That's awesome. I saw some pictures that you posted on Facebook. And I like the questions and the interaction that you have on Facebook. I think it's really special.
Well, Facebook is a great invention and great social media preference. It's brought individuals that, I think a lot about what our ancestors would think, if we told them that we could communicate with someone halfway across the world just like that, they would say that's impossible. And but Facebook has been one thing that I've been on there for years now as part of our social media marketing platform. But one of the things I really do every day, and I try to do it every day, is to bring something positive on Facebook. You have those that post on there that wants to complain and moan and groan, and I'm thinking, okay, let's look at the other side of this life, and let's look at the positive things in life. So I try very hard to put something positive on there every day, and also just when I on my personal page, I try to put something on there that we can reflect on, and just even the small life. I don't know what I can't remember what I posted this morning. Oh yeah, I do. It's about, I read an article by mom about when you watch, there's an altitude meter on a plane that ascends and descends, and it determines how the plane is, nose down is descending, nose up is ascending, and is a great positive article. But it also shared what I reflected from that is, and what's said in the article is, it's the same thing with our attitudes. If we have our nose down and we're in the negative environment, guess what? We're going to go down. If we look up and chin up and look at the good things in life, and have yourself looking up, you're going to create a positive outcome. So I try to do that every day on Facebook, and sometimes I put something funny on there. I think I put a post on there where there was a big stuffed bear. We didn't see any bear on the Alaska trip, but we did find a stuffed one. So my brother got up there, put his head up next to the bear, and we took a picture of that and kind of made a funny post from it. So
Awesome. That's beautiful.
I think I saw that one. And I always like how you ask a question, and it pertains to a memory or something like that. That's
and again, I do that, Raven, for two reasons. I do that, number one, because I want to hear from you. I want to hear what your thoughts are and what some of your memories you have, but also I want to hear how what I wrote has reflected on a memory that maybe you had growing up and what you learned from. So it's something I've always done, and it's something that I look forward to reading every night before I call my day to be done. I used to look through there and see what everybody wrote. And you've posted a few things I've noticed, so I've noticed those. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you. It's nice to, I don't know, reflect on those memories. My favorite one was what my mom taught me, and
Yeah.
that was a nice journey going back and seeing, oh, what was the one thing that she taught me? Well, she did teach me several things. It wasn't just a one thing, but if I had to choose one,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
great.
And it's easy to talk about mom because I've got a very special mom myself, and no matter how old I get, I'm still her kid, according to her. And I don't know about you all,
Yeah.
but I got a mom, and she gives you this look, just
Yep.
to be quiet, do what she says, everything,
Everything will be all right.
everything will be all right. That's right.
Yeah. So you are a psychic medium and a life coach. How long have you been doing this?
Well, my abilities has been since I was born. I feel like we're all got these abilities. We all have the ability to know that there's another part of life besides this life. But as we're growing up, society, our environment, our individuality begin blocking them. We begin, being told it's imagination. It's can't be believed. I recognized them early in my life. I recognized them as something that I knew that was to me. I was a little, I was hesitant for years because as a child, I grew up in a. I'm very proud to share this. I grew up in a church-oriented atmosphere. My mom's a preacher's daughter, so we went to church Sunday mornings, Sunday nights, Wednesdays. So, but I grew up also recognizing those in the next part of life, what I call our loved ones in spirit. And but I didn't talk about them. I didn't share them because a couple of reasons. Because my church upbringing, number one. Number two is I wanted friends, and nobody'd be my friend if I told them I was seeing people around them. So I kept them to myself until about 27, 28 years ago. And I had an experience in my life that was saying, Rick, this is your path. This is your purpose. the experience shared with me that this is what I was given a gift for something in my life. And this is something I teach in life coaching, that every one of us has a talent, a skill, an ability that we were given. And if you don't apply it in your life in some way, first of all, recognize it, acknowledge it, and then if you don't apply it in your life, you're missing something in your life. So recognize it could be something as simple as you may be great at cutting hair, or you may be great at driving a car. Apply that in your life, because I'm telling you, when you realize that, once you get it in your life, you'll see really amazing changes. I'm no exception. It took me years and years to I recognized my abilities, but I never brought the path. And when I did 25 years ago, it literally changed my life to an unbelievable, amazing life with experiences I never would have dreamed would have happened. So my psychic medium abilities, my life coaching came about 12 years ago. I've been studying with this guy. He is the life coach. I'm talking about Anthony Robbins, Tony Robbins. If you don't know him, he's fantastic. Mm-hmm. But I learned from him, and I've taken his classes for years and got to know him. And I began developing my own ability in life coaching, because I was recognizing those that was coming to me, and they were sharing with me, I was sharing them the validations of the next part of life. But I was having many of them coming to me and saying, Rick, what about, I got to live here. What about my life here? What about my relationship? What about my purpose? What about my career? And so I knew that Tony being in my life for years, I knew there was a reason for that. And so I started developing and creating my own life coaching program. And it's kind of been a part of my overall service, for the last 10, 12 years now.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see, because you just answered like 4 or 5 of my questions.
I knew you was going to ask. I knew you were going to ask.
You knew it. Oh.
If I may ask, if we can circle back, Rick, if you don't mind, because as you mentioned, you were born. Well, we're all born with gifts. It's just our ability to tune into our gifts.
Absolutely.
Learning how to silence the exterior. May I ask, what was that pivotal nudge from spirit? Because as you mentioned, when you were young growing up, you didn't want to tell anybody that you seen, their family around them, etc. So what was that one moment that nudged you to say, all right, let's share what I'm doing, what I'm feeling?
Well, Lisa, I can actually give you 3 moments. The first is that I've always been nudged by my grandfather. He passed away when I was 7 months old. He was a well-known evangelist minister, and throughout my life, he was guiding me, and I was recognizing him, even though I didn't get to know him in physical body. And as I got a little bit older, in the 20s, he kept coming to me and he kept saying, Ricky, you're going to be a preacher. Ricky, you're going to be a preacher. And I kept saying, preacher. And I didn't recognize it at the time what he was saying, but he kept saying that. And finally, I remember sitting in my living room on the couch, and I saw his presence, and he said, Ricky, you're going to be a preacher. And I actually stood up off the sofa and I said, do I look like a preacher? Long hair, do I look like a preacher? I said, I'm not going to be a preacher. Well, I didn't recognize it, but what he was actually telling me, I'm not a preacher, but I was going to be sharing about the next part of life, and I was going to be sharing about the value of life here. The other experience I had was when I was in college. Go Gators, by the way. Mm-hmm. And but when I was in college, I was taking psychology classes because I was trying to figure out what was wrong with me. That's why I was taking those classes. Okay. And so, and we had a part of the semester where we was studying telekinesis, psychic abilities, and so we did a test, And one day, after a test I had taken, the professor came up to me after class and he said, "Can you stay a minute?" And I said, "Sure." And I thought, "What did I do now?" And so he told me that the test, it was a psychic test. And he told me that the test I had taken, I had scored phenomenally high, and wanted to know. He said, "Would you mind if me and a couple other professors tested you for about the next 2 or 3 weeks?" Well, my first question was, will I get credit for it? Because I was trying to get credit everywhere I could on college. So he said, "Yeah, we'll give you some credit for it." So that was the second moment that made me realize that this was going to be a part of my path. The third was probably the catalyst that really put me there. I was in the corporate world for years. I was successful in the corporate world, but I've been saying this for years. I'm so happy to be out of the corporate world. and but I reported at the time. To the owners of the company, and Monday morning, I'd get together with one of the owners, and we'd have a cup of coffee, and then we'd go over the business events. And I went into her office that morning, and when I walked in there, she was on the phone. She was crying, and she hung up the phone. And I said, "You okay?" And she said, "No." She said, she said, "That was my husband, and he just called me to let me know a dear, dear friend of ours who's battling cancer was just rushed to the hospital, and they don't think he's even going to make it to the hospital." And as she was telling me this, I was getting this individual in spirit come to me and kept kept saying to me, "Tell her, tell her." And I kept saying, "No, I'm not going to tell her. She don't know anything about this." And she kept insisting on telling her. And finally, and she was crying, and she was telling me about him and about this guy and everything. Finally, I said, "Well, he's going to be okay." I said, "He's going to be home." I said, "He'll be home." And I said, "His loved ones will be around him." And I said, "There's something about the 8th of a month, or the 8th." And she said, and right away, she looked at me funny, and she said, "What? No, what are you talking about?" And so for the first time, I shared with her my abilities, and I thought, well, if I get fired, I get fired, but I'm going to tell her. And so we talked a little bit more, and I shared with her some things about, for example, I shared with her this guy's. I said, "Dad's here with us," and I said, "He's telling me that he always wore these suspenders and always had a cigar sticking out of the side of his mouth." And my boss looked at me and said, "Did you know him?" I said, "No, but I do now." You know, and so Monday morning, that was on a Friday. Monday morning, she came on, and she hugged me, and she had red eyes, and she hugged me, and uh, she said, "I want you to know how much you helped me through this weekend." And I said, "Okay." And she kind of pushed me a little bit. I like the hugs. I don't like the pushing. And she hugged me, and she pushed me, and she said, "You're being selfish." And I looked at her and I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "You have these gifts, and you're keeping them to yourself, and you're being selfish. You could be helping others." And at that moment, I think it hit me with an impact at that moment. But she went on to tell me that her friend, he insisted on going back home. He went back home. On that Saturday, all of his family members was around him at his home when he passed. And that Saturday was the 8th of the month. It was on the 8th. And so I went home at night. I cried. I prayed. I meditated. I called my sister. And I said, "I don't know what to do, but I'm so being pulled to take this journey." I said, "They may put me in a rubber room, but I said, I feel like I need to do that." So that was the 3 moments in my life that recognized that. And here's the other thing I share. When you're being guided in your life, you really are. You're guided to learn, you're to evolve, you're to grow. So there's going to be your life that's going to happen and come about that's for you to learn from. And I call it being pulled. You get pulls. And when that happens, acknowledge it, allow that door to open and walk through that door, and then just watching what you learn, watch how you grow, and watch how you evolve. And I'm no exception. That's what's happened to me in the last 25 years. I'm still growing. I'm still evolving. I'm still learning. But it all happened from those moments that was telling me, Rick, this is your path. This is your purpose. You may be in corporate, but this is where you're going to go in your life. And fortunately, I recognize it and I accept it. I will make this quick comment. About a year after I was doing this, I told my sister, I said, I wish I'd done this 20 years ago, because I felt like I was at an age that 20 years, I've been 20 years younger. And her response to me, I'll never forget, she said, but Rick, it wasn't the right time. And I thought, well, there's another key. It's going to be the right moment. It's going to be the right time when it happens for you. You know, it might have been last year, it might be next year, but it's going to happen in some way. So just follow those pulls.
Beautiful.
That's beautiful. That leads me into a question that you have not answered yet.
Answer it.
Do you believe everyone has intuitive abilities? If so, what is the first step someone can take to begin trusting their own intuition?
Or your lead for me, Raven. Thank you very much. Do feel we're all given an ability in some way, some kind of spiritual ability, whether it be, I call it, everyone has what I call a core ability. And we teach this. I got a class, I call it the master class. It'll be our third or fourth year it's an all-day retreat, and we help. I've got 3 great speakers coming in. We help individuals evolve their abilities, find their abilities, and how to live with them and grow with them, and have that confidence in them. But I do feel like we all have them. It's just the core ability for me, for example, is I recognize my core ability is my mediumship. I have a strong core of being able to connect with those in spirit. Now, you might have what I call spokes, other abilities coming out from that. Like, I'm defined as a psychic because I can see things that might happen ahead of us. I've been told I've got some healing abilities, which I don't recognize them too much. But everyone has some type of ability within themselves. It could be an empathic, it could be clairvoyant, it could be, the key is to find what that is and recognize it, and then apply it in how it's to be applied in your life. I teach. I've got a program where I work. It's a program for spiritual advisement, and I work with individuals who are recognizing their ability, and then we start developing and working them. And I'm so excited to share that I've had many that have really evolved with their abilities. I've got some that's found out that they're medium. I've got some that are very good at recognizing and interpreting dreams. I've got some that's learned how to utilize what I call the tools in this industry, the pendulum and the tarot cards. So it's just all a matter of finding what that core is. And I do in the master class, we do have I've created a sheet, just a questionnaire basically, and it helps us to pinpoint what that is. If anyone's interested in that listening tonight, go to my website or email us and I'll send it to you right there.
Yep.
Right there.
Yep.
So, and we'll get that to you because it can help you. Basically, there's 5 or 6 main ones, and then so we developed a questionnaire for that, so you can determine what is your best core ability, and then from that you can evolve from that.
Beautiful. And you mentioned that it's like an all-day retreat, and you have other guest speakers. How long is that for, like, your gathering that day? I didn't look at.
Well, I'm glad you let me, because I'm excited about it. I have a great time with events, and this event is called the Masterclass 2026, and it's finding your spiritual self. And I've got 3 great speakers coming in. Dan Davis, he's going to teach us how to do the open eye, third eye meditation. And he actually was trained by a Tibetan monk. And so he's coming in. And then I've got Megan Heil from Michigan. She's coming in. She is a world-renowned genealogist, and just amazing how she can find history of individuals. And I work with her a lot with individuals who have a spirit individual, a loved one who's came from their family from years ago. And she helps to, she'll show you in the class how to research that individual and how to, where to find their gravesite, for example, and things like that. And then the third is a great friend of mine. This is his second return. He loves coming here. Dustin Perry he was one of the ghost hunters on the Ghost Hunter show, and he's just a phenomenal speaker, and I'm excited to have him as well. And so, and the retreat begins at 10, it ends at 4:30. It's right here in my hometown. It's a beautiful facility called the Dean Clark Center, and it's just bringing it home is what I'm doing. I'm bringing it home, and we have try to keep the crowd. I prefer a small, so we try to keep it limited to how many there. I've taught and coached and spoke to as few as 5 in my career. There was one, probably the most I've done is about 4,500, 5,000. That was at a college. So, but I choose to kind of keep it small because I can get more personal with you. So, but that's going to be Saturday, August 22nd.
And
everything's on my website.
What town is that in?
Jasper,
it's
Indiana.
On the website.
Yeah.
Jasper, Indiana.
Jasper, Indiana. Yeah. And I'm like, I work farmers markets on the weekend, and so I was a little disappointed.
We try to have it about a year every other year.
Okay.
I'm kind of restricting my events. I've got 2 events that we're going to keep, maybe 3. One I do is a gallery connection at a place near here. It's at the French Lick Resort in French Lick, Indiana, an iconic historic resort. And I'm honored because I've been there several years now, and I'm honored because they informed me after the first year that I would probably be the only psychic medium they would allow to come there. So that back to that, I'm honored for that. But then that is a gallery where we have a dinner. We have a nice catered resort, and then I connect with loved ones. And then the other one that's very special and dear to my heart and is called I Am Mom. And we created that all-day retreat event for moms who's had a child that's passed, because you're in a special world when you have a child that's passed, and you feel like you're all alone in your world. And so I created it to try to get the moms together, to let them interact with one another, and because they understand one another and what they're going through. So we have a lot of fun with that, and we treat them to lunch, and we just have a great time. My co-host for that, Dr. Chris, she's from Ohio, but she's a mom that her son was murdered, and so she knows what it means to have a child that's passed, and so she's a part of it, my co-host, and it's a very touching day for that one is, but we leave there feeling a lot better.
I can imagine, because I would unfortunately be qualified for that one.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Well, and as you said, you are a healer. So maybe you might not see it from that perspective, but that alone, gathering with those moms and giving them a safe, sacred space is
phenomenal
healing in itself. So your presence and your beautiful heart with that alone is simply amazing. And I do myself, I know a few people that would perhaps benefit from this gathering that you have for these mothers. Is it at a specific time every year?
Yeah, we tried. Normally it was in. We tried different months. We was going to do it this year in May, but my schedule got conflicted. So we're looking at next year being around Mother's Day, because that wouldn't be on Mother's Day, but maybe weekend before, weekend after, where we're looking at doing it try
Yes.
that. So
Okay.
it takes. I got a great team. I always share with everyone. It's not just me. I've got a great team that and that helps me, and they're there, and they give 110% to it as well, and they're dedicated to it as well. And I love every one of them. They believe in what we're doing, and they're dedicated and committed, and we do what it takes. They know our philosophy is when I'm going to do something, I give myself 100% of my day, everything I can do for me 100%, so I can give others 110%. So, and they got the same feeling, and they're just fantastic. So I'm bragging on them.
Beautiful.
No, you have every right to brag. I mean, that's amazing. And I feel like the work that you do as a medium is also very healing for people, because I know that when I have gone to mediums and I have spoken to those who have crossed over, it's a very healing thing. It was a very healing thing for me to do. Um, have you ever witnessed or have you ever done a reading that completely transformed somebody's life and helped them find peace? Or do you
Every
have it
day, every
every
day.
day?
And that's what's so inspiring for me. I had a couple of sessions this afternoon. My in-person sessions runs about an hour and a half. And
That's a
um,
long time.
well, yeah, I was doing about 3 a day, but I'm getting at the age now. It's like I'm wearing out. So now we're trying to keep them down to 2 a day. But the one I just had this afternoon was a good example of what you're asking, because they had a loved one just passed just a few months ago, and I don't, when I do private sessions, Raven, I don't have you come in. I don't begin by saying who you want me to channel or who do you want me to speak to, or what's their first names or anything like that. Out of respect, I let those loved ones come forward, and I just listen to them. They know what we're doing, and they know who wants to talk today, so I just let them come forward. And it's kind of because they're usually the ones that come forward. Oftentimes, the person in the session will say, "That's who I wanted," So it's like, well, they know that, so
They
I didn't know
know.
that. But, I mean, when they left here, their loved one that was just a few months ago, when they were, um, the word you said, they were transformed. The key is, and I share with everyone, is when you leave, you don't have to believe in me, but have the comfort and belief in knowing that there is more than just life here, that we have a continuing life. And I don't use the word death or dead, because that means an end, and we don't end in life. We just simply, what I share is, when we complete this part of life of learning and growing, evolving, then what we do is we leave the physical body, the earthly body, and we transcend into what I call our original body, which is the spirit and the soul. And we continue on in life. Um, I'll share this real quick. I shared with you, I grew up in church, and I was raised a Baptist Methodist, and I had some questions about some of the things I was taught. And one of them was, I'll just say this: I told my parents when I was a little kid I wasn't going to heaven, and they were kind of like, "You're not supposed to be saying that." And I said, well, and finally they asked me, they said, "Why do you say you're not going to heaven?" And my answer was, because I don't want to leave the people I like here. And what I was being told in church was, we was going to sin, we was going up somewhere. That's why I describe these loved ones in the next part. Lisa and I are all in different rooms right now. We're in different homes. We're in different states, but we're all together here. It's the same thing. They're in a different part of life than we are in spirit. They're in a different part, but we're still in the same part, what I call life, the home of life. And so we're not separated. We're still connected, but we're just in different rooms right now. That's the only difference.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very beautiful way to explain that. Is that we're in different rooms. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Because that's really what it is.
Yeah, it really is. And I've had that people ask me, they say, have you ever been afraid of dying or death? I never have. As a kid, I never have. I don't try to challenge it, but I try to be safe, but at the same time, I tell everybody I'm not scared at all about the next part of life because I'm going to continue on living. Now, if you put a snake in front of me, I'm going to be out of this room in about a second and a half because me and
Yeah.
snake don't get along. But I mean, as far as passing and transcending, it's just part of life.
Beautiful. And if we can just touch a little bit on your sessions, as you mentioned, you do a few a day during the weekday. And if someone wants to have a session with you, but they do not live anywhere near you, do you do them over the internet or over a Zoom session?
Yeah, Lisa, I got really fancy in the last few years. Yeah, we have you have the option of telephone. You have an option of virtual now. We do it virtually like we're doing here today. One of my sessions today was a virtual. They were in Colorado, I think. And I've had virtuals, Switzerland, Norway, all over the world, basically. So, but yeah, and it's an incredible invention for us because we can connect and we can literally see each other and talk to each other and even the telephone, just talk on. And the individuals have asked me, Lisa, they said, was it different for you being in person than being on telephone virtual? It really isn't for me. It's more the person that is scheduling the appointment because they may feel more connected to if they were in person. But for me, it's the same. Like I when I'm on the telephone, for example, it kind of shocks people because I had one the other day, and I said you have a bar, an island in your kitchen, and on this island, I'm being told you got a cup with pens and pencils in it. And she said, how did you know that? Well, my answer is always, well, I put webcams in your house before I called you.
That's clever.
But actually, what was going on was the loved one that was sharing messages with me and talking with me they were with her, they weren't with me. Yeah. And so they went about by saying, okay, she's got pens and pencils in a cup, and they're sitting here on the bar in the kitchen. And so I just shared that with her, and it gave her the validation the person was there. So yeah, it doesn't really matter to me as far as connection.
Well, for our viewers out there who perhaps might be a little skeptical or perhaps a little close-minded, because I know that we are like you said, we are here to learn. We are here to experience. We are here to grow. And so having an open heart with an open mind allows these experiences to flow in our lives. So for anyone who is listening now or in the future, if you have any doubt, put a pin in your doubt and just try it. Because you don't know if you're going to like it until you try it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly. And I've actually, in one of my books I wrote in there, it's okay to be skeptical because it just simply means you're still learning to understand. That's what you're doing. You're being skeptical because you're to understand it before so that you will no longer. So that's all being skeptical. And skepticism has been a part of life. We talked earlier about if our ancestors came, if we told them we could put, if we went back to their time and we told them that we could put some kind of food into a box and punch the button and 30 seconds later it'd be heated, they would think we was absolutely crazy. Today it's nothing. It's called a microwave, you know? And
Right.
so once you understand, it gets more and more clarity than the skepticism. And I've had those that'll come into my session with their spouse or with their, another person. They'll come in with their arms folded. Well, I'm here for her. I'm here for him, and I don't believe in any of this. Guess what? It's not because of me. It's because of spirit. But when they leave, most often those same individuals are tears coming down their eyes, and they say, "We believe this now." There's no way, and it's like that's all that matters, And if we all believed in the same thing, if we all believed in the same way in the same thing, we would never learn. So that's another part of being skeptical is you're also learning. We're learning from each other. So have you wrote a book, Lisa? Have you wrote anything?
Not yet.
Have you thought about it?
I've been pushed and nudged multiple times. Yes. So I have thought about it, and I'm collecting.
Hold on. I'm getting some right now. I just want to share with you right now. You've got either words written or some kind of something written that is an idea or a thought, and you need to put those together. Now, I've only had this one other time, because a lot of psychics say you need to write a book, but I've only got this one other time. Her name's Andrea Perrin. I met her years ago at an event, and I met her for the first time. When she walked up to me, I said, "You're going to write a book." She ended up writing a book. It's a New York Times bestseller. It's called House of Darkness, House of Light. The Conjuring movies is based on that book.
Wow.
And she wrote that book. And so I'm sharing with you, you got thoughts written on paper or journal or something you need to put together. Okay. And I didn't want to do this, but I need to go to Raven real quick. Do you have a son?
Yes.
Here or past?
Both. Yes.
Okay, because I'm to share with you that when you said something earlier about connecting with the I Am Mom event, I immediately got a connection with the son, and I feel like it's been maybe a few years, but he's wanting no matter how many years it is, he's still going to be the same kid. He's going to be the same kid.
Yeah.
And I'm also supposed to tell you good morning. I don't know what that means, but I'm supposed to say good morning too.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's what happens. People say, is it around you all the time? Does this happen all the time? Our life, but what you do is, and I don't flip a switch or anything like that. What happens is I'm focused on our conversations right now. But what happened is I got that because as I was kind of listening, and I got someone I got someone that wanted to butt in on us and tell me something. So that's what I did. All right.
Beautiful.
Yeah, my son can be kind of pushy sometimes.
He cremated?
No.
Was there any talk about cremation?
I wanted to do that because I didn't want to take up space in the earth for
and
that.
I tell you what he's telling me. He's telling me that he said they should have listened to Mom.
Yeah.
It was no big thing. They should just, because I feel like the ashes in some way would have been, you'd represent those ashes in some way, and he knows that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that would have been more meaningful than putting something in the earth that wasn't, even there anymore.
I didn't want to make this a reading show, but I got to say this real quick too, and then I'm going to tell him to talk to you later, okay? Um, I'm being told to relate to you also that he didn't hurt as much as you thought he did. The pain wasn't there like you thought it might have been. For you to know that, okay?
I think that's good to know.
Okay. I don't know and all that, but he told me that too. All right. Thank you. Go talk to your mom.
Thank you. Love you.
All right, back to the show.
Yeah. Amazing. It is amazing. And any reading that I have ever gotten, I feel like the person from the other side has always validated things. Mm-hmm. And just as you just validated the cremation thing with me, you know.
Well, and I always share this, Raven, that let's reverse the roles. If you were in spirit and he was here on the earthly body, you do everything you can to let him know you was okay, and you do everything by giving you signs, by giving you, sharing messages like this, by coming to you in your dreams. You would do that. You would do that. You would want your loved ones to know, hey, I'm okay. I'm still living,
Yeah.
And so that's basically what they're doing. I've been to every, quote, haunted location all over the United States. If you name one, I've probably been there at least once. And I share with everyone that the place isn't haunted, first of all. It's simply those loved ones in spirit who experienced either a life there or experienced some experience there. They're wanting us to learn from it. They're not trying to scare us. They're just simply saying, hey, I've been there and I've been here and I worked here. I've done this here. I want you to know about it. And if we would understand that, we would get more out of going and investigating a location. Because
absolutely.
Because some individuals like to go because they're hoping they'll be scared, or they're hoping it's. One of my books I wrote is called Reasons for Hauntings, and the reason I wrote that is because I was so fed up with this when the media and the television shows were like every place you went into is like you're going to get it's evil or it's negative, and I thought, come on, it's like, no, they're just trying to share with you what they experience there in their life. We've got a place near here that is very well known. I've been there 13 times. I was the first, one of the, if not the first, psychic medium that the owners invited me to visit. And when I went in there, before I went in there, I had individuals tell me, "Oh, you be careful in there. You could get hurt." No, you're not. You're not. They're not going to hurt me. I'm there to learn from them. And now that, as many times I've been there, it's like now I go there and it's like, oh, Rick, we got this to tell you today, or something like that. So it's called Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky. So it's one.
And I've heard of that. So how many books have you written?
I've written 3. My publisher wishes I had 2 more because they've been after me for years to write it, and I just don't have the time. I'm like you, Lisa. I've got notes. Next one will be a kind of a semi-autobiography. But I've got 3 that I'm very honored that they've been titled as bestsellers now, and so I'm very proud of it. If you knew me in high school, I could literally drop the mic now because I wasn't that good in English. Right from my high school, I wrote a book. It's like, do you remember how you were in English? How in the world did you write a book? And I've written 3, and my first one was, it's still a popular one. It was called "You're Not Crazy, You Have a Ghost," and I co-wrote it with a friend of mine who had moved into a home that literally within 2 days of moving in, they were moving out because they had blood stains appearing on the stairway. They come downstairs and all the cabinet doors would be open in their kitchen, and so I caught wind of it, and this was before I actually started sharing my abilities. And and I caught wind of it, and so I went and I asked her if I could come to her home just to see the home, because it was built in 1906 and it's a beautiful Victorian home. Went there and she started telling me all things going on there. So for the next several months, we worked on who it was, why they were doing this. It was the original owner of the home, and he was basically wanting them to transform it back to the way it was when he lived there. And they were in the process of doing that. So they ended up living there 7 years. But we was in the kitchen one night. And she said, "Rick, you ought to write a book," because because I know others out there are having issues like me. And I said, "Won't you write it with me? You could tell about your experiences. I could share the reasons." She said, "That'd be great," because she said, "I know I'm not crazy. I know I have a ghost." And I said, "That's a good name for a title. You're not crazy. You have a ghost." Well, that's what we did. So, and then another book I wrote is called Stepping Stones. It's more of a self-help book kind of book. It's a book that I'm very honored that it was written in. I don't know if you know the Chicken Soup books by Mark Victor Hansen, but um, I actually got some advice from him when I was writing how to publish and what's the best way to publish this and on. And I told him, he said, "Well, what's the title?" And I said, "Well, I could title it as Chicken Soup for the Paranormal Soul, but you would have to get part of the royalties and you don't need the money." So the title is Stepping Stones, and that's been a really good book. And then the third one is Reasons for Haunting. So uh, I'm hoping someday to bring another book out before I complete my journey. So
That's beautiful. And
you're everywhere.
you were also talking about, before we came on air, you were talking about a house that you went to that had a possession.
Mhm. Yes.
And I think that would be interesting. I think our audience would like to listen to that one too.
Well, it was I was sharing with Lisa. It's in the state of Illinois. It's in a town called Watseka, Illinois. And there was a document. There is a documented. It's documented as the first documented case of possession. The the family that lived in the 1800s. They had a daughter. The daughter, what they described as possessed, and she passed away, I think, at the age of 16. And there was another girl in town, lived in the same town, but they didn't know each other. And one day, after Mary passed away, this girl, sometime later, started recognizing herself as Mary and knew every little detail about Mary. So for 100 days, they brought Mary, the family of Mary. They brought, her name was Laurency, and they brought Laurency, the girl that had taken what they describe as the possession of Mary. They brought them to this home, brought her to this home, and a doctor came and began studying her. And for 100 days, she was in the home, and it's just an incredible story. And so, good friends of mine, I call them my bosses, the Booth brothers, Chris and Phil. You're listening, Phil. Phil passed away just a couple months ago, but they brought me in when I do any kind of TV work, any kind of film work. I share with them, don't script me, don't make me something I'm not, and that's one of my requirements is don't make me go in there and be something I'm not. So the Booth brothers knew that, so they let me be me. I didn't know about the location, but when I got there, the documentary was on Sci-Fi for several years. I don't know if it still shows at Halloween or not. They used to, but it's called The Possessed, and it was an incredible experience for me. And the home is an incredible home. When John, my buddy that owns a home, when he purchased the home, it was literally dilapidated. I remember when we first went there, the drywall was, water damage, bats were flying everywhere. and he's transformed the home into a beautiful home now. And but I think individuals are still investigating and still having activity there. I know when I go there, real quick, what happened when I first went there, I walked up and they took me to the home, and I walked up to on the front porch, and I was looking in the double doors with the glass in the doors, and I was looking in there. When I looked in there, I looked about halfway up the stairway, and I saw this little girl in spirit standing there, and she was waving at me. Found out later that was Laurency. And I was standing there I was on the outside. She was inside the house, and I was on the outside standing by the doors. And I looked over at Phil, one of the producers, and I said, we got a little girl in there on the stairway. And he started freaking out on me. He started saying, well, was she waiting? We don't have I have the cameras ready. And I said, I don't think she's going anywhere, but yeah, I mean, and it's a film I was honored to be a part of, because again, the way they filmed this, it ended up being a positive light at the end, and so that it was fun. I've actually did something for Travel Channel at that same location for the most haunted places in America or something like that. So that was a few years ago as well.
Yeah, because you've been on Sci-Fi, the Travel Channel. You've been, and did you start out on radio?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
I started appearing on shows, and then I had my own show for a few years, and I don't have a show at this time. I have a podcast, but I haven't done the podcast. We're trying something new. It's live stream. It's not live stream. It's live. I'm doing shows now. It's called Soul Touch Network. We created our network, and it's Soul Touch Network, and it's basically I've got on there where I talk about things like we're talking about tonight, experiences I've had in my life, and the experiences that have shared with me about this incredible next part of life. And so it's going really well. And so I'm putting my time in now. So I haven't done my podcast show in quite a while. It's out there, but with it.
Well, gee, I don't know. Being a psychic, being an author, holding workshops, being a life coach. I don't know. Could you put another thing on your plate?
I absolutely could. You know.
And Rick, if I may ask, in regards to the Soul Touch, if I'm not mistaken, is that on Patreon?
Yes, it is. It's on the Patreon network. Yeah.
Okay.
So far, we're doing okay with it. When I do something, I do it. I guess it's because I want to get to as many individuals as I can to let them know about the value of this life and how valuable the next part of life is. And so if I've got some kind of source that will get me to one person to do that, I'm going, just like this show tonight. When I was invited, I'm always excited to be on a show, because we're going to be touching lives tonight, and we're going to be having them think about things differently. And they don't have to follow what we believe in, but they can start believing in things for their own selves. And when I get this opportunity to do so, I'm going to figure out some way to do it. That's just like the master class this August. That all began because I was doing my spiritual advisement programs with individuals, and I thought, these individuals, just like the I Am Mom event, needs to get together in a group and recognize that they're not weird. Okay. What you have is perfectly normal. It's a perfectly normal part of our life. And so anytime I have an opportunity, I'm gonna do it. I had someone ask me today. They actually asked me, because I'm now at an age now where I should be retired. And someone asked me today, they said, Rick, are you going to retire someday? And before I had a chance to say anything, they said, you better not. And I said, well, let me just say this, that you retire from something you're tired of. And every morning I wake up and I'm so excited for what the day is going to bring me. I'm not tired. And so probably the day you would define as retire is the day that Rick Hayes transcends. And then even when he transcends, he's going to be busy in spirit
Mm-hmm.
because I'm going to be visiting you all.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Well, with that note, if spirit could speak to humanity with one unified message right now, what do you believe that spirit would want us to hear?
you answered it. Believe.
Okay, I like
We are
that.
we are to believe. And that doesn't mean believe in certain things. That says believe within your soul. Believe that your soul is telling you to believe that, and to really. I'm just going to say this because I coach this. I talk about it when I speak. Um, so much going on in this world right now, and if you will get connected with your spiritual self, you'll actually be elevated from it. One of the things I teach is a lot of just like to get up in the morning. Their routine is get up in the morning, get their coffee, go in front of that television, turn on the news, and we'll watch the news. And I don't watch any news because one morning several years ago, I decided I was going to watch the news. Got my coffee, I turned it on. It was Good Morning America, and they had these clouds, and they had this upbeat music, and they was just unicorns, and you felt good, in the intro. And then what they do when they got done with that? Today, 14 people got killed. And it's kind of like, what happened to the good stuff? And so I share this. Try for 27 days because there's a study that showed that if you do something every day for 66 days, it becomes a habit. But if you would just try for 27 days, every morning get up, don't turn on the television, don't turn it on, don't turn on the news. Read an inspiring book, watch an inspiring video. Uh, Sit there and just enjoy the moment. If you do that for 27 days, you'll find your whole day changes, and because your attitude's changing. And so what you put in this brain, the neurons in your brain is going to, what your file cabinet in your brain, what you put in there is what's going to come out, and what your environment's going to be. So try changing that and believe. That's my tagline. You see it back here. Somebody gave me this sign back here. I found it on my front porch one day, and it was. I thought, hey, that's cool. So someone left me that. So, but if you just believe and believe in, that's the other thing. This world has got us to not believe in ourselves. Our confidence is down, or our insecurities are high. If you change that around, if you start believing in yourself and start belief that you have a life that is fulfilled, then you'll get the find is much more meaningful and much more fruitful and much more productive and much more successful. So just believe. Get away from the
Beautiful.
news.
Right? I saw this meme the other day. It says, "Watch out for your self-talk. You're always listening." So, and
Right.
I take that as not only your self-talk, but you're always listening to what's happening around you. So if you're getting up and you're listening to the news, you're listening to fear and doom and gloom and, you know, so
Well,
yeah.
just think about it, Raven. I share how you're molded as a child could be your outcome as an adult. And if you're in an environment where you get up in the mornings and everyone's bickering, everyone's arguing, everyone's has the fear-based mentality, um, you're naturally going to be absorbed in that, and you're naturally going to reflect on that because it's a mirror, and you're going to reflect on what you're around.
Yeah.
I understand you can't get rid of family, but I
Mm.
always share it. If your members of your family are negative and you know, they live in a fear-based society that they think the world's going to end tomorrow, then what you can do is start not following them, but you can start showing them how you can be more by living your life in a positive way and by believing in yourself. And what happens is that that environment, either you will change that environment or you will leave it, and you'll create an environment that's what you got to do is just know that if you take care of yourself, you be
Mm-hmm.
you do the things best for yourself, because when you do that, you know, I've known this industry that Rick's so positive. He's always so positive. If you're around him, you feel upbeat. Yeah, I am, because that's how you're supposed to live life. Now, do I have bad days? Yeah, I can punch a hole in the wall. I can get frustrated. I don't punch holes in the wall, but
Yeah.
I get frustrated. But it's a moment, and that's the other thing. We try to keep the challenge that we have. We want to make it long lasting. We want to drag it on. Just look at it as a temporary challenge. It's just a moment. Something you're going to learn from, and then let it go and go on. You know, um,
Absolutely.
and when you do that, you're going to have a change in your life.
I agree with that. And I also agree with what you said. We've been taught not to trust ourselves. We've been taught to look outside of ourselves for validation, for healing, for so many things, when we just need to go within and make sure that, listen to our
Absolutely,
heart, listen to our
absolutely,
soul and our spirit, and do that discernment. And like you said, if you encounter even a family member that is in that negativity and you can't bring them out of that negativity, being in that negative situation is also bringing you down in some way.
yeah. And what I also teach is that our world, our society has taught us, and that's what's been a kind of a difficult situation for our younger generation, is that to be something in life, you got to be successful. You got to have the material things, and the more material things you have, the more successful you be. Now, I'm the first to tell you, we're to enjoy nice things, you know, but it's not life. I always say this: I've never in all my life had a loved one in spirit came to me and said, "I took my house with me, I took my money with me, I took my car with me." What they
Yeah,
took in was love and the good memories. That's what's valuable in our life. And if you just appreciate what you have, just appreciate what you have, and just like those in spirit, they show appreciation for what they had in their life. They show appreciation that they may have not recognized it when they were here in this life. And what they're teaching us is that we should appreciate every moment in our life, even the little things. You know, that I've had those that come to me and they'll tell me, they say, "Well, why did my loved one in spirit bring up something like that? That's what's that got to do with anything? Was it true? Are they sharing with us the truth?" Well, yeah. And then I say, well, maybe they're trying to share with you that even the little things in life you should appreciate, and you should validate it. It's something special in your life. So that's the other thing. I think if we start teaching our younger generation, and when I teach in schools, I tell them, you who you want to be, who do you want to be in life? What do you want to do in life? Because they're kind of been taught. I always say this: if your dad's a doctor, that don't mean you have to be a doctor. You follow what you feel inside, and if you do that, you're going to feel more rich in life. And so
Mm-hmm.
I try to teach the younger generation to be them, to be themselves, to follow what they feel they want to do. I had someone last week. Uh, this individual's been through. He's 35 years old now. He's been through some very, very tough challenges in his life, in his young adult life. And I asked him that question. I said, "What are you doing with your life right now?" He said, "Well, I'm doing odd jobs." I said, "What do you want to do in your life?" And he said, "I love to paint. I'm an artist." I said, "Do you have anything to show me?" And he started showing me some of the paintings he had on his phone. And I said, "You got a gift. Why aren't you doing this?" Well, his answer was because he's afraid that some people will say he's not that good an artist. That was holding him back. And
Wow.
I I just flat out straightened him up. I told him, I said, starting today, you're going to get those paintings out, start doing shows, you're going to start painting, and you're going to change your life. And so I'm hoping he does that.
Yeah. Boy, why do we always fear judgment from others?
Well, I did that. I did that, Raven. I mean, I struggled. I struggled with my abilities growing up. I was bullied as a kid because I wasn't
True.
the typical child.
Yeah.
Not just because of my abilities, but I like sharing this. When I was in fifth grade, I was wearing, I was wearing back then. It was bell bottom jeans and gold chains on my. And I was in fifth grade. I was never. I was like Prince. I just wore what I wanted to wear, and so.
Hmm.
But I was that. I was really afraid of what people was going to think of me, and that restricted me from of those years of being able to share and serve others during that time. But I was afraid too, because what would society think? What would everybody around me think? And I had family that's like, we don't want you to put this out there. You're gonna. It's not gonna look good for the family. And that was 25 years ago, and now they're like very proud of me. So
Beautiful.
Yeah, and especially when we're growing up, peer pressure, and it's a big influence.
the great grandmother waved at me real quick, and she wants you to know she's been with you all your life.
My great grandmother?
Oh, Lisa.
Oh,
It's on your mom's side.
Yes. Wow.
I
Okay.
don't know if you knew her that well or not, but she's waving at me. She wants you to know she's here. Said with
Okay.
her all of her life, with her all of her life. So she's been around you. But do you know if she was spiritual?
She was Catholic.
Yeah. Okay.
So she used to pray her rosary. I knew her. I was a little girl when she was like in her 90s. So
Okay.
yeah.
oh wow.
She's and you're a spiritual person. I can tell that. So she's been with you all your life, and she's been. That's the other thing. People ask me. They say, "Were they Catholic there? Or they?" They're all spiritual there.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Methodist, Catholic is what man has created. Based on their
Yeah.
beliefs. Spiritual is what's
Religion.
in here. Spiritual is from the spirit. And when we go into the next part of our life, we're all one. We're all one.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
Did you know your grandmother?
I did. Oh, Lisa.
Yeah. Well, you said my great grandma.
Yeah, it was your great grandma. It's not your
My
grandma. It's your
great-grandma.
great grandmother. Yeah.
Did you know her?
Moments in time, but I want to say she didn't, because she was Polish. So her English wasn't the greatest. But I do remember, like, there's certain flashes of memories, when I visited her when I was when I was a toddler, the older furniture really sticks in the mind's eye. And there was actually a couple items of hers that when I was a teenager, I wanted to have in my bedroom because they were my great grandma's. So I wasn't close with her, but at the same time, she was present. So.
Well, now that you know that, Lisa, I usually advise just get to know more about her. If there's individuals around you that knew her a little bit, just get to know her a little more.
Okay.
And because she waved and she was over to your right side, and I got a flash of a wave, and I thought, and I heard I got the energy of a great, not grandmother, but great grandmother. So
Mhm.
she's wanting to be recognized real quick. So
Well, thank you.
she's
Thank you.
been helping you in your life.
Mhm.
Um,
Her and my grandfather, which was her son, because his energy is also present in my journey as well. So that's nice to know that the lineage is strong, and our guides and our guardians are our loved ones that have
Yeah.
passed, but they're with us. They are part of our team of light.
Who
So
got
thank
stuck
you.
in the snow?
Who?
Which one of you, either one of you, who got stuck in the snow? Like got your car stuck or something stuck in the snow? I heard something stuck in the snow.
I've had my car stuck in the snow a few times.
Did you literally have to get it out yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Well, they were helping you too then, because and we was talking about that. Someone said helped her with the stuck in the snow. So
Her team of light.
yeah,
My team.
yeah, it's her team. Yeah.
I got angel bumps when you said that.
I'm gonna be where I know we're on air, but I'm not gonna get real personal with you. But I'm kind of being told you should have known better when it happened. Like you thought you could, you couldn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And
Yeah.
this is actually a male telling me, the male energy telling me this. So let you know that.
Yeah, I drove through a blizzard.
Amen.
Yep.
Wow.
After living most of my life in Alabama where it doesn't really snow.
Welcome to the Midwest.
Yes.
Yes.
Welcome to the Midwest. Absolutely.
Well, actually, that was when I returned home to New England, and the
Oh,
blizzard was there. Yeah.
East Coast blizzards.
Yep.
Okay.
yeah.
Even
Well,
better.
that
Yep.
that answers it.
Yep.
That the snow, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I've had individuals ask me too. There's a lot of times I get things just like I just did. It's like, why do they bring that up? Like I said earlier, it's a memory, and I think sometimes they do it because, let's face it, some skeptics in this world, they want to say, well, he Googled it, you know, or he go, I know the first thing about any of that. And so I think
Mhm.
sometimes they recognize that and say, well, here you can't Google, and you know, and here it is. And then I
Mhm.
think the other reason is, again, like what we talked about earlier, like we was talking about your great grandmother Lisa being with you and helping you in your life. There was someone that flipped me over to you, Raven, and said, or someone, I didn't know exactly who, but wanted to say, I helped her with get herself stuck out of the snow, you know. And so they want us to know that they're still a part of our life and helping us in life. My dad,
Yes.
my dad passed away about 9 years ago, almost 10 years ago, and he was totally blind for 13 years, couldn't walk very well, but he loved to travel. And the only two places he didn't go in the United States was Alaska and Hawaii. And I was fortunate, about 6 months after he passed, I had the opportunity to go to Hawaii. And, you know, while I was there, him and I had a little talk, and, you know, he basically said, well, I've already been here, you know, kind of like that. So, like, yeah, I guess you could, you know. And so, and then, like we talked earlier, I had the opportunity to go to Alaska just a couple weeks ago, and I know he was around and enjoying it with us. And that's the two things I share with the end of every session. I share, first of all, I always share with everyone, if you need to see me one time, that's fine, you know. One of the reasons I say that, if you feel pulled turn, that's up to you. But if this is all, if that session's all you need, that's all you need. Because I say that because we've been talking about tonight, you don't need someone like me talk with your loved ones. You're closer to them than we are. So
Mhm.
talk with them. You can talk with them. They hear you. And then the second thing I share is really enjoy life and get the most out of life, because that's what we are to do in this life. But the second thing is, those individuals, those loved ones in spirit, if they were still been here in physical body, and if you was like me and my brother going to Alaska, my dad wouldn't have been able to go because he couldn't walk and he was blind. But he gets to go now. And so when we're enjoying life, they're enjoying it with us. So I always say, enjoy life, because when you are, they're enjoying it much more than we are, and they're enjoying it with you. So yeah. uh, so someone helped you out of the snow there, Raven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and yeah, I truly believe that they are on the other side helping us. And I still like how you presented it earlier, is that we're all just in separate rooms, but we're
Yeah.
together. We're in separate spaces,
And doesn't
but
that make
together.
sense? Doesn't
Absolutely.
that make sense? It's like,
110%.
I believe in God, and I believe in my Creator, and I know it's like, okay, if He creates us to love one another and be together, why would we be separated just because our body, said it was done? So it's like, why wouldn't we be together? We're just in different parts of life, is what the only thing we are.
Yeah.
And
And
individuals have
isn't
asked me, they say, well, do they miss us as much as them? Well, they do and they don't, because they know you miss them. Like your son, he knows you miss him, but he doesn't really miss you because he's around you.
Right.
Yeah.
They're
How can
with
he
us.
miss you? So, but they understand, and that people ask me too. They say, well, do they miss eating? Do they miss eating and drinking? Well, that's all nourishment for the body. They no longer need that. But
Mhm.
they had the experience of eating and they had the experience of drinking. So they know what it tastes like. They know what it was like. And so when we talk about when they bring up a message of having to do with food or having to do with, I had one, I think last week, that she made this special kind of pie, and she was telling me about the pie, and their family members said, "Was she still making them?" It's like, well, I guess she could if she wanted. You can do what you want there, but I mean,
Yeah.
she was more saying she remembers the smell of the pie and how it filled the whole room, and she wanted you to reflect on that. So yeah, they give us little things like that as well.
That is beautiful.
Mhm. This has been amazing, Rick. Thank you
Thank
so
you, Lisa.
much.
Yes. I mean,
I've
we
had
could
fun.
Yeah.
go on all
I just
night.
looked at the clock, like, that's not right. We've only been talking about 15 minutes, not over an hour.
It's
So
No.
it's
Yeah.
crazy how fast time has been going by lately.
Yeah.
well, have
But
me back and we'll go part 2. How's that?
oh, we would love
Absolutely.
that.
We'd love to have you back.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So
Well, I want to take this time to thank you both for doing what you're doing, for having this show and getting it out there, and giving the people the opportunity to learn and grow from you all. Continue your paths, and just keep doing what you're doing, because you're changing people's lives as well.
thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
How long has the show been on air?
Actually, Lisa and I have been together a little bit over a year, but this show has been on the air for 2-3 years.
Okay. I
But
can
Lisa's the
awesome.
final co-host.
I was going to say, Donna, actually in October, it's going to be 2 years. No, actually, I started
Actually,
co-hosting.
really?
Yeah. That's how fast time's been going by since
Oh
2024.
my God.
I've been your co-host since I think like September of 2024.
And you've
Wow.
been
And
so amazing. I just want to say that.
well, thank you. Time is going by so immeasurably fast. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel like it.
No, it doesn't. Wow. That's amazing.
Well, and individuals ask me too, do they understand that they've been gone for 14 years or 20 years? Not really. There's a scripture in the Bible says 1,000 years is like a day, and basically what that is symbolizing is time is what the quality is, and not the quantity. It's not the time, it's the quality you have. And so in the next part of life, there's no time, so it's more the quality of life, and that's what we should do here as well. especially someone like me who's got all kinds of schedules and all kinds of calendars, and I still can't keep up with everything. So I just like, okay, today's Friday. All right. So
Yeah. Well, now we do have a question that we ask all of our guests, and you've probably already answered it for us, but what message would you like to leave our audience with today?
well, it's a message I've been sharing for years. It's my tagline. Um, we've already discussed it, and that word is believe. Just believe.
Yep.
That's all it is. Just believe.
Mm-hmm.
And it can believe in yourself, believe in those around you, believe in your spirit, believe in your soul, believe in your creator. Just believe and be phenomenal in life, because that's what we're here for.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And for everyone watching, we'd love to hear from you. What part of today's conversation resonated with you? We always go back and read our comments, and I try to answer all of our comments. We're very grateful for our audience, for those who view us while we're live, and for those who view us in the future. We're totally grateful for you. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Lisa, would you like to leave us with anything?
I'm hearing with Rick's words when he said believe, right? We are live to be to live life with joy in your inner child, because that's part of the journey that sometimes gets a little dust on it. And it's okay to allow your inner child to have its freedom. Try it every day, but if you can't do it every day, at least a few times a week, to just find the time to be in joy. So
Love it. Love it.
Yes.
That is beautiful. And so I guess we will see everyone in a fortnight, and we are going to have Rick back for part 2.
Mm-hmm.
And can't wait to have him back for part 2.
I can't wait.
It'll be
see what else he's doing, you know.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
So I guess we will call it an evening.
Mm-hmm. Thank you to everyone who's joining us now or in the future. We are grateful for your presence with us.
And don't forget, go to Rick's website. Yep.
Give it a scan.